Hello, welcome to Lessons for Worship. My name is David, and today I am so excited to be going over the electric guitar lesson for the song of the Saints by Phil Wickham. A few things you need to know about this song. This song is in the key of B, the BPM is 100, and the time signature is in 6/8. So before I get into the actual parts and what's being played, let me go over the effects that I have dialed in. First, at the beginning of my signal chain, I have a subtle compression turned on to give the parts I'm playing just a little more sustained throughout the song. So here's my clean tone with nothing turned on. And here's with the compression enabled. Cool. Next, let's talk about the overdrive. I have a medium gain overdrive. It's around 40 to 45%. And with that turned on, it should sound something like this. Now, during the second go-around of the chorus and the third go-around, I have my overdrive enabled with about 10 to 15% more gain. So, let me show you, let you hear what that sounds like. So, just cutting through a little bit more on those big parts of the song. Next, I have two delays. First is a dotted eighth note delay. This is your primary delay that you'll have turned on pretty much the entire song. It has around 8 to 9 repeats. It's a medium mix, around 40 to 45%. And that should sound something like this. Next, I have an eighth note delay. This one has a little bit less in the mix, maybe around 35%, and around 5 to 6 repeats. So that should sound something like this. Now, at some point in the song, actually several points in the song, the delays are turned on together, which gives it a gallop effect. So with both of those enabled, you should hear something like this. Okay, let's go on and talk about our reverb. I have a modulated hall reverb, medium mix, with around 6 seconds of decay, and that should sound something like this. Now I do have another reverb enabled during the portions of the song where I'm doing swells. So mainly the beginning and the end of the song, I turned on and stacked with my hall reverb. It's kind of like a bloom reverb. It's just making it really washy for the swell parts. So together, they should sound something like this. Now, if you don't have a second reverb, I would just turn the mix up and your decay up around 30 to 40% more for the swell parts of the song. Okay, so those are our effects. Now, before we get into the actual parts, I want you to know that in this song, there are actually 8 electric guitar tracks for Song of the Saints. I know, crazy, right? So what I've done in this lesson is I've taken all 8 of those tracks and consolidated them into one electric guitar arrangement. So if I were the only electric guitarist in my church, I would be playing this, okay? Now, for the intro, you're setting out completely. There's a little bit of swelling going on between the intro and verse 1, but you can sit out if you like. Really, it's very subtle. You're mainly coming in verse 2. So I'm going to play through verse 2 and tag 1, and then we'll break those parts down, and then we'll go and talk about the chorus. I'm on my neck pickup, so I'm just hanging back a little bit, not really wanting to cut through a whole lot here. And I also have both my reverbs and both my delays turned on. Okay, so really just keeping it very washy. So the first chord that I'm playing is a higher voicing B chord. What I like to do is put my pinky finger on the 14th fret of the high E string, my middle finger on the 12th fret of the B string, and my index finger on the 11th fret of the G string. Okay, then after that, I'm staying right here on the 12th fret of the B string, so playing that B note. And sliding down to the 11th fret. And then I'm going to go down a little bit further on the 9th fret of the B string. And then I'm going to bar the B string and the high E string on the 9th fret. Okay, and that's verse 2. So for the tag, I'm going to be playing, starting off the C sharp minor or the 2. So I have my middle finger on the 13th fret of the G string, and then my index finger barring the 12th fret of the B and the high E string. And then I'm going to come up here and play a D shape on the 16th fret. So my middle finger is on the high E string of the 16th fret, my index finger is on the G string of the 16th fret, and my ring finger is on the 17th fret of the B string. And then I'm going to take my pinky and put on the 18th fret of the high E string. I'm going to do a little bit of a stretch. I'm going to put my 14th fret, my index finger on the 14th fret of the B string, and then my middle finger on the 16th fret of the G string. Okay, now you're going to transition into chorus 1 and chorus 2. So for this, we're still keeping our clean tone. I'm going to be on my middle position in my pickup, and I'm going to have both my delays turned on with my reverb. Okay, so let me play through that first, and then we'll break it down. Okay, so I just played through chorus 1. Chorus 2 is the exact same thing as it's a repeat. Let's go ahead and look at the chords that are being played here. So first you're going to start on the 1 or that B chord. So I have my index finger on the A string on the 2nd fret. On the 4th fret I have my middle finger, ring finger, and pinky finger on the D, G, and B string. Now if you prefer, some people like to bar on the 4th fret with their ring finger, so whatever's easier for you. After that we're going to go to the 5 or the F sharp. So here I am going to put my index finger on the 2nd fret of the B string, my middle finger on the 3rd fret of the G string, and my ring finger and pinky finger on the A and D string of the 4th fret. After that, we're going to slide up to put our ring finger on the 6th fret of the D string and barring across the 4th fret with our index finger on the G and the B string. It's a 6 or a G sharp minor, and then you're going to slide back down to the 5 or that F sharp. And then you're going to go up to the 4, your middle finger on the 5th fret of the B string, your ring finger on the 4th fret of the G string, and your ring finger on the 6th fret of the D string. And then you're going to come up here just a little bit higher. You're going to put your ring finger on the 6th fret of the A string, and then bar your index finger across on the 4th fret of the D and the G strings. And then you're going to come back down to the F sharp. Okay, and that's chorus 1 and chorus 2. Next, we're going to get into verse 3 and verse 4. So let me play through that, and then we'll break it down. So you notice we're kind of building here. To start off, I'm playing another B chord, but it's higher up, a little bit on the voicing. So what I'm doing here is I'm barring my pinky finger across on the 7th fret of the high E and the B string, and then I am also barring my index finger across on the 4th fret of the D and the G string. Okay, and then after that, we're going to play an F sharp chord, but it's more of an arpeggio. So you're going to go. You are putting your middle finger on the B string of the 7th fret, your index finger on the 6th fret of the G string, and then your ring finger on the 8th fret of the D string. All right, and then you're going to slide back down, same chord shape. You're just sliding to the 5th fret, index finger on the 4th fret of the G string, your middle finger is on the 5th fret of the B string, and your ring finger is on the 6th fret of the D string. So that's the 4. And then after that, you're going to play the 1, so it's another B chord. I'm just borrowing the 4th fret of the D, G, and B string. And then you're playing the 5 or the F sharp again. So again, you can add your ring finger in there if you like. Really, I'm just doing triads in this verse. Now, as we get into verse 4, you're going to engage your overdrive. So once you do that, I'm actually turning off the 8th note delay, so it's just the dotted 8th note delay with the overdrive for verse 4, okay? And during verse 3, you have both delays enabled, so you do have that gallop effect, as you probably have heard. Okay, so here you're playing that B chord again. And then you're going to go to a G sharp minor, so it's just a different way of playing it. So I have my index finger on the 4th fret of the low E string, my ring finger and pinky finger on the 6th fret of the A and the D string, and then I'm also barring across on the 4th fret of the G string. And then after that, I'm going to the 5. It's actually an F sharp over A sharp, but here what you're doing is you're putting your middle finger on the 7th fret of the B string, your index finger on the 6th fret of the G string, and your ring finger on the 8th fret of the D string. All right, then we're coming back down here to the 4, so we're going to play an E chord. So what that is you have your pinky finger on the 5th fret of the B string, your ring finger on the 4th fret of the G string, and then your index finger on the 2nd fret of the D string. Back to the B, back to the F sharp. All right, so that was verse 3 and verse 4. So I'm going to play tag number 2 real quick, and then we'll talk about the big part of the song, which is the chorus again. This is a really nice, fun picking part. So let me show you the chords that we're playing for the second tag. It's a higher voicing chord, so you're playing the 2. So you're down here on the 12th fret of the E string, high E string, the 14th fret on the B string, and then your 13th fret on the G string with your middle finger. Okay, so you're just playing 8th notes there. And then you're going to come to the G sharp minor or the 6. So you're going to put your index finger on the high E string, your 12th fret. You're going to have your middle finger on the B string, and then your ring finger is on the 13th fret of the G string. Okay, and then after that, you're going to play the 5. So this is an F sharp. So I have my pinky finger on the 14th fret of the high E string, and then I'm barring on the 11th fret with my index finger across on the G and the B string. Okay, so real fast it would sound like this. And then we get into the fun part, which is the main chorus. So let me go ahead and play through chorus 1, and then we'll break that down. All right, so this is the funnest part of the song in my opinion, the big chorus. And for here, what I'm doing is making a D shape on the 11th fret and the 12th fret. So I have my index finger barred across on the G, B, and high E string. Then I'm using my middle finger on the 12th fret of the B string and my pinky finger on the 14th fret of the B string. So you're doing an alternating picking part, and so you're starting on the 12th fret of the B string, and then you're hitting the G string, which is the 11th fret here on that note. So it's like this. Okay, so this D shape, adding your pinky finger on the 14th fret, going back, and then lifting up your middle finger, so you're just playing the 11th fret on the G and B string. And you play that twice. After that, what I like to do here is to tuck my ring finger underneath my middle finger on the 12th fret. So I'm on the 12th fret of the high E string. Okay, and then you're removing your ring finger and you're going to play the 11th fret on the E string and the 12th fret on the B string. And then you're going back to the 14th fret on the B and the G string here. So 11th fret on the G string, 14th fret on the B string. And then you go back to playing the high E string. So that D shape on the 11th fret on the high E string, and then the 12th fret on the B string. And then back to the 14th fret on the B string and the 11th fret on the G string. So let me show you that. Okay, so that's chorus 1. Talking about chorus 2, it's very, very similar, but there's some slight differences. So to start with, you're going to play that part where you walk up and back down. So now here, instead of playing, again, you're not playing that, you're not walking back down, you're going to come up, you're still keeping that D shape, but you're going to play the 11th fret on the high E string and the B string. So you're playing the E and the B string instead of the B and the G, okay? So it's... And then you remove your middle finger and you're playing the B and the G string of the 11th fret. So... And then you're going back to this D shape again, so... And then tuck your ring finger underneath, so you're playing the high E and the B string, 12th fret. Coming into the refrain, so this is the last 2 bars of the second chorus. So as you get here, you're just going to keep your pinky finger on the 14th fret and your index finger on the 11th fret, and then you can just... All right, so with the refrain, it's very similar to chorus 2, just a little bit different as you get to the 4th bar. So instead of tucking my ring finger underneath my index finger like I did in chorus 2, I'm just going to bar on the G, B, and high E string. Okay, so you're just playing a slightly different note there, and then you're going to go back. And as you're finishing up on the last 2 bars, so I like to just come here and just adding a little bit higher note on the last part of the refrain as you're getting into the bridge. Okay, so practice that part, listen to the song. I also have a playthrough of this song that I'm playing, this exact arrangement that I'm teaching you, so check out that video. It's in the description below, and you can watch that if you find it easy to just play along with it. Awesome, do that. So let's go ahead and talk about the bridges. So there are 4 bridges, and so you're going back to some swells here, and then you're going to build and build as we get into the last choruses. So let me play through bridge 1 and bridge 2 first. We'll break that down, and then we'll talk about bridge 3 and bridge 4. So here you're doing some swells. Starting off, you're going to be playing the 5 or the F sharp. So here I'm putting my index finger on the 14th fret of the B string, my middle finger on the 15th fret of the G string, and my ring finger on the 16th fret of the D string. After that, I'm going to put my pinky finger on the 14th fret of the B string, and then my index finger on the 11th fret of the high E string. And after that, we're going to play the 2 or C sharp minor chord. So here I'm putting my index finger on the 12th fret of the high E string, my ring finger on the B string of the 14th fret, and my middle finger on the 13th fret of the G string. And that's bridge 1. Now as we get into bridge 2, I'm going to enable my overdrive with my swells. So I have my reverb turned on and my delays with a little bit of distortion. If you want to dial back your distortion a little bit, feel free to. I think I have mine around 30%, so it's more of a low to medium gain. So what I'm doing here is I'm barring across on the 16th fret on the D, G, and B string. And then I'm going to play a D shape on the 18th and 19th fret. So you can bar here, or you can put your middle finger on the 18th fret of the high E string, your index finger on the 18th fret of the G string, and then your ring finger on the 19th fret of the B string. And then I'm going to put my pinky finger on the 19th fret of the high E string and my index finger barring across the 16th fret of the B and G string. And then you're going to go back and play that D shape again on the 18th fret and the 19th fret. And that's bridge 2. So I'm going to play through bridge 3 and bridge 4 next as we're building into the final choruses. So let me go and play through that, and then we'll break that down. All right, so this is another great fun part to play. So talking about bridge 3, we're playing some different variations of chords with a lot of distortion here. So what I'm doing first is I'm taking my pinky finger and putting it on the 7th fret of the B string, my index finger on the 4th fret of the G string, and my ring finger on the 6th fret of the D string. That's a G sharp minor 7 variation of the 6th chord. And the reason I do that is because I want to switch really quickly to the 5 or the F sharp, and all I have to do is move my ring finger and my index finger to the other string. And then I'm going to come out here and play on the 1st fret of the A string, and then go to that B chord. And then there's this really cool walk down part. So you go. All right, so what I'm doing there is I'm just staying on the A string, 7th fret, 6th fret, 4th fret, 2nd fret, 7th, 6th, 6th. Okay, so going into bridge 4, you're playing that 6 or the G sharp minor, to the F sharp, to the 1 or the B, and then back to the F sharp or the 5. All right, and then you're going back to the 6, so that tag. So this is tag number 3. Then back to the 5, and then you go into the final choruses and refrain. So it's just the same progression as you played the first time around, and then you're going to go into the last part of the song, which is a down verse, verses 5 and verse 6. And then there's an outro. So these are swells, so let me go ahead and play through that, and then we'll close out the song. Okay, so going through verse 5 and verse 6, and there's also this outro. You're going to be on the 19th fret of the high E string, so again, just some higher voicing, very light swells. I'm back on my neck pickup again. Clean tone, no distortion, just both my reverbs and delays enabled. So starting here, you're going to swell on the 19th fret, dropping down to the 18th fret, and then to the 16th fret. And then you're going to the 19th fret on the B string. Okay, and that's verse 5. And as you get into verse 6, you're going to start here. So that's on the B string, the 16th fret, and then your index finger's on the 15th fret of the G string. And then you're going to go back to that little walk down, so the 19th fret, 18th fret, 16th fret on the high E string. And then here you're going to go to the 14th fret on the B string, and then you're going to this little part where it goes, Amen. So 16th fret on the B string, the 15th fret on the G string, and then the 16th fret. So, and there's another little part where they pick, so it's the 14th fret, 16th fret, 12th fret, 14th, 16th, 12th on the B string, drop the 11th. And then you slide up to the 17th fret, down to the 16th fret, 14th fret on the B string, and then to end, you're doing like a B5 chord. So ending on the 1, I have my pinky finger on the 12th fret of the B string, my ring finger on the 11th fret of the G string, and then my index finger on the 9th fret of the D string. And that's the song. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss my next guitar lesson. See you soon.